How many different Stealth Elf figures appeared in starter packs? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Figure Focus, where I, SCL Matt, focus on the figures of one character in the Skylanders franchise. I hope you'll join me for a bit of nostalgia as we take a trip down memory lane. A quick shout out to Davu. This one is for you. Stealth Elf was never one of my personal favorites, but I think she was regarded as a fan favorite. If you just look at the sheer number of figures that were created in her likeness, it's really hard to deny. Her first figure appeared in Spyro's Adventure and was quickly reprised in Giants with her Series 2 figure. A third game brought a third figure with a little bit of variation. This was Ninja Stealth Elf. Amazingly though, there wasn't a standard Stealth Elf figure produced for Skylanders Trap Team. Fans of this quiet, forest-dwelling ninja had to wait for Skylanders SuperChargers to get a full-size figure again, where we saw Super Shot Stealth Elf. But the standard figures weren't all that we got for Stealth Elf. From the very beginning, she was a big part of the variant figures. In Spyro's Adventure, she had the crystal clear variant. In Giants, she became legendary. In Swap Force, she was a dark ninja. And once again for SuperChargers, we saw another dark variant. Now you may be thinking, what happened in year 4? Why are there no Stealth Elf figures for Skylanders Trap Team? Well, there were actually 2 appearances in the 4th year. She showed up as a mini figure called Whisper Elf. This was a remake of the sidekick that was used as a promotional item during the first few years, except unlike the sidekick version, the mini was a fully playable character in the game. And Stealth Elf was honored once again during Trap Team as one of Eon's Elite. These were repainted Series 1 figures that had heavily boosted stats when they were used in the new game. Because Stealth Elf is one of the original 32 Skylanders, the majority of her figures will work in all 6 games. The notable exception is, of course, Super Shot Stealth Elf and the corresponding dark variant, but this has nothing to do with Stealth Elf in particular. If you remember, all of the characters released that year were treated as new characters, and therefore none of them function in the previous games. But even without those 2 figures, there's a lot of Stealth Elf to go around. Coming back to that trivia question I asked you in the beginning, how many different Stealth Elf figures appeared in starter packs? Do you have the answer? Well, the correct answer is 5. She first appeared in the Spyro's Adventure 3DS starter pack. 2 years later, Ninja Stealth Elf was in the Swap Force starter pack, and Dark Ninja Stealth Elf was naturally in the Dark Edition. Then another 2 years later, we got Super Shot Stealth Elf in the SuperChargers starter pack, and then, of course, the Dark Edition of SuperChargers had the Dark Edition of Super Shot Stealth Elf. So if you've ever wondered why Stealth Elf shows up in every bulk lot of Skylanders someone is trying to sell, this is why. Back when the games were new, we were all forced to buy her and typically multiple versions of her figure. Now it's time for a rarity check. Being in multiple starter packs, you can imagine the standard Stealth Elf figures were not hard to find. Most of the variants weren't too bad either. The Dark Editions were readily available. It just meant you needed to buy another starter pack or wait for someone to put them up on eBay. The Legendary figure was a Toys R Us exclusive, but wasn't hard to find if you had a store near you. Eon's Elite, many people thought were overpriced, so they tended to sit on shelves until there was a good sale. The mini Whisper Elf came out as a standard release. However, the sidekick version was a bit different. The sidekicks were never sold in stores. The sidekicks were always used as promotional items. They were originally part of a Frito-Lay promotion. You simply had to buy a bag of Frito-Lay chips and use the order form inside to claim your sidekick of choice. A few years later, the sidekicks showed up again at GameStop stores. But as I mentioned, they weren't for direct sale. They were a quote-unquote free gift with the purchase of $25 or $30 worth of Skylanders merchandise. This promotion seemed to pop up every few months. So if you were collecting during that time, they really weren't too hard to find. The only real challenge amongst the Stealth Elf figures was the Crystal Clear variant. This was her only true Chase variant figure. Chase variants were hard enough to find any year, but Stealth Elf's Crystal Clear variant came out in year 1. When this game launched, people were still figuring out how the game and the figures worked. Most people weren't even thinking about the collectability or the possibility of rare, unannounced variants that were randomly placed in packs with standard figures. By the time casual fans or even casual collectors were alerted to the existence of chase variants in Skylanders, most of the rare pieces have been snatched up by hardcore collectors and scalpers. So what's your favorite Stealth Elf figure? How many Stealth Elf figures do you have in your collection? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified as soon as the next video is released. If you'd like a sneak peek of all my new videos, you can become an SCL VIP. As a VIP, you'll help me determine what content to put out next, you'll get early access to all the videos, and get your name in the credits. Speaking of which, a big shout out to Pirate Dad, Portal, and Patrick for joining the SCL VIP family this week. I hope you'll consider joining us very soon.